Hello there, you're watching and listening to another Scoutcast on www.fantasyfootballscout.co.uk, and my name is Mark.
My name's Granville.
And my name's Jonty.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you?
Good.
I'm good, thank you.
All good. You're not going to commentate on Luton Town versus Stoke, are you, Granville? Because last weekend bit of Liverpool Bournemouth action. Tonight we've got Capital One Cup, not as attractive perhaps.
No, other competitions, not bothered about them really. There's also Celtic against Malmo, which I had my eye on earlier, for the Champions League qualifiers.
Yeah.
United play tomorrow against Bruges.
Yeah. Bit of a shock result. Welcome to the Scoutcast, everybody. If you haven't seen or heard one of these, basically it's the three of us, sometimes joined by a fourth person, or not yet this season, talking about fantasy football. We'll talk about our teams. We'll talk about the events of the game week for us and also members of the community who have written in on the site, and also then we'll be tackling some community questions. Now the guys on the community can get involved live as well while you watch this, can't they, Jonty? That's right.
Yes, they can. The easiest way I find is while they're watching it on YouTube, there's a comment box in the side. Just leave your comments there. We're monitoring that all throughout, and that's the easiest way to do it. But you can also do it via Twitter as well, and we're at FFScout. That's where we are.
Indeed. So yeah, get on there and see if you've got any questions, see if you can get them mentioned live on the Scoutcast. We're also going to talk about in great detail about our wildcards, because all three of us played the wildcard. Now famously last week, Jonty, you kept it quiet to the very end, and then you hit us with it.
Yeah.
And then Granville and I at the time were like, I was taking a 4-point hit. Granville was like going to go ahead with Rooney and Walcott still, and I was like, I think he's going to play it.
And then like a pair of sheep, you followed within hours.
Yeah, it was the case. Well, the thing is, you went for your team, and I was like, and I got off air, and I had a look, and I was like, if I let John
Saliva down your t-shirts.
What actually did happen? In chronological order. The evening after the Scoutcast, which I think was last Monday, I looked at my team. I thought, maybe he doesn't have a point. And then I kind of looked at the transfer market and just thought, oh dear, I'm going to lose 0.3. I'd already lost 0.2 in the week. I was going to lose another 0.3 that evening, and I just decided that I'm gonna have to go for it.
Yeah, I mean that was another.
I didn't think. I mean, it happened late actually. It was like about 1 o'clock or something. I played it, but once I played it, I was quite happy, and I'm still happy that I played it actually.
The 1 AM wildcard is one of the best, isn't it?
How long did it take you to hold out, Mark? When did you press?
Well, I was basically looking at my defence. That was the problem. It was the thing that pushed you, I think, was your defence, and I looked at mine as well, because I already had I'd already got Mahrez in. And I'd already got Sanchez in, and I'd already got Aguero in. So I kind of had the three, what I thought were the three big players. But then I looked at my back four, and I thought, well, I'm not going to. I just couldn't see a clean sheet. As it is, as it happens, none of my players would have given me a clean sheet. So I was right to change it. But I didn't do brilliantly out of my defence. But I did do brilliantly in one exception, of course, and that was Kolarov. And he was a player I wanted, and he was going up in value. Luke Shaw was going to go up in value, and I wanted to cover the United defence at least for 1 week. So yeah, it was the defence that pushed me into it, and also my goalkeepers. I thought, well, McCarthy's a bargain. He's going to go up to 4-1, and I might as well get in while there's a chance. It was just the prices really. It was it's just they looked so volatile, and it looked like I was going to lose quite a bit of money, and then the difference would have been maybe 500,000, maybe 700,000. I'd have been struggling. So, and also the other thing was, you were saying it on the night, I couldn't think of a better time to play it. I was looking at it going, well, when am I going to play it if I don't play it now?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I looked at my team value just before we came on. I've got 101.1 million, so I've gone up 1.1 million. And a lot of that is actually selling value now, because of players like Mahrez, Company, they've all gone up. Gomez, they've all gone up twice since I've had them. So I've actually got selling value there. But if I'd have kept my old team, I mean, as this was the clincher with Granville's decision as well. If I'd have kept my old team and maybe just made one transfer, I'd still be looking at 99.4, maybe 99.3 even. Yeah. And already you're looking at that. And so I think team value is important. You've got to build it up this time of year. If players like Mahrez get injured, I mean, Mahrez is getting on he's going to be going up 0.5 million in 3 game weeks.
Yeah.
And if he gets injured, or I can't see him getting dropped, but if he gets injured, well then immediately there's selling. If he goes up to 6.1, you've got 0.3 profit just from that move, plus all those lovely points. And it would have been too much to look at it. And but I wanted to say, I was talking to Mark before we came on air about Granville and his tweet to me over the weekend, as is traditional with my wild cards.
Yeah, before we go on to that though, I want to get you all to rate your wild cards out. Because John's opinion of his wild card is going to be interesting.
Let's say John.
What would you give yourself? Wild card.
Oh, 10 out of 10. Of course.
I'll tell you what. I'll give it 49 out of 50, and I'll give my previous wild card 38 out of 50. How about that? So that's 11 points difference in 1 week.
Your previous what? Oh, your previous team.
In my previous team, if I'd have made that's not including captaincies, because I have no idea who I would have captained. And I don't know what my transfers would have been. It may have even taken hits, but from the team I had and would have played to the team that I did play on my wild cards, I was 11 points up on the deal. But
so you're going to give it a 9 out of 10 then, John T. You got 51 points. Yeah. Now, haven't you got a Louis Van Gaal document there to back up?
I have. Look, here it is. This is Rafa Benitez moment.
Yeah.
Right.
I have in my hand.
Let's see the facts.
To prove 38.
So you sold Wilson and you sold Aspi.
I did sell Wilson.
And you're up on the deal.
Yeah, I sold Wilson and I sold Azpilicueta. Everyone else did nothing. Because if you remember, like Ertz, I had Ertzel, nothing. Koscielny didn't even play. Mane, nothing. I mean, my defence was a complete mess. I got Azpilicueta's goal, but he conceded twice. But I brought in Darmian and company, so immediately up on the deal there, 2 clean sheets. I missed out on Wilson's 3 goals, but I had 3 other goals. I had Juve, as you can see from my screen here. Juve was a success there. Maximum bonus. Mahrez, maximum bonus goal. Gomez scored again. So there's 3 goals. So I've had 3, 4, 5 players absolutely storming into my wild-card team. Right. Whereas if I'd have kept the previous one, I've had less points. I'd have been relying on Wilson doing his surprise hat-trick. So yeah, that's, for me, definitely 9 out of 10.
Can I let me judge your wild card then?
Since you're obsessed with my wild card.
It's a yearly thing. Okay, so you could have had that team that you had this week, but you could have also had Wilson and you not sold him. You could have had Aspi, you not sold him.
Azpilicueta, yeah.
Yeah. So you could have done a lot better. You can't give it.
Well, I couldn't. I've just proved I couldn't because I got 38 points with that team.
What'd you give it out of 10? No, seriously, what rating do you give it?
I definitely give it a 9 out of 10 because
a 9.
We'll come to this at the end about what transfers or what our moves are for next week.
See,
I haven't got any to make. I've got
mine was far better than yours, and I don't give it a 9.
Hold on, Granville. What did you only got 52 points. You got 1 more point than John T.
Yeah, but I didn't sell a hat-trick man. I didn't sell anyone who scored a goal.
Well, you sold Cedric, right?
I sold, actually, yes. That's the only thing I sold was 1 clean sheet, but I swapped it for another. I swapped it for Kolarov, for God's sake. That? It wasn't hard, really.
We'll come to Kolarov later. We have a question on that.
Yeah, we do. We'll come back to you on that one, John T. That's for sure.
It wasn't a difficult move, though, was it?
You're giving yours what? An 8 out of 10? 9 out of 10?
No, I'd give mine about 6 or a 7.
Oh, okay. I was going to go 7.5, and I thought I was being modest, but that is super modest, Granville.
So you're happy with your team then, Mark? Your new
well, I obviously had Wilson as well, which is a bit of a faux pas. But I'll tell you the story behind that. I was looking at it going, well, I do fancy Bournemouth. I think I've said before.
Yeah, you did. You fancied Richie, didn't you?
I know, and I fancied Richie. So my plan was, and you'll look at the money I had left, and the reason why I basically did what I did, because you'll look at it and think, well, why has he got Albrighton? Because he's never going to play Albrighton, so why didn't you just get a midfielder? I was basically planning this coming week to go my 5th midfielder to Richie to get the Bournemouth cover for their home match against Leicester and for their run. So I thought, what I'll do, I'll play Deeney. I'll get Deeney on the wild card because then I'll get rid of Wilson because I know I'm going to get Richie. So I'll have Richie as my Bournemouth cover. I'll get Deeney in, and then I'll rotate. You know, they rotate them, and they rotate really well. But of course, then Wilson did completely unexpectedly. I mean, I did think it was a chance he'd get a goal, but a hat trick, and he took a pen. So that confirmed him as a pen take. So now, you know, straight away I've gone Wilson in for Deeney.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it'd be mad not to, because Richie was going to be my transfer this week. But now looking at it, I mean, I did worry, because I was looking at Bournemouth and they were sniffing around Defoe, they were sniffing around Glenn Murray. I was wondering, is Wilson on a bit of a bother? Is he going to get possibly dropped in a few weeks? But he's not going to now. I mean, he's proven himself, and so I don't really know Eddie Howe yet. I've got to admit, hands up, we're learning about Eddie Howe in Bournemouth. He's obviously got a lot of faith in his 11 that got him up, and that includes Wilson.
He has switched it a little bit, because it was at Kermagent. He hasn't played him hardly at all, I don't think.
No, he's playing him tonight, and he scored tonight, and he's the penalty taker normally. But largely he's kept faith, with the exception of Gradle, who's come in and looked exceptional.
Yeah, he's good.
So that was why I didn't get. That's why I got rid of Wilson, because I was going to get Richie, and that's now why I've got him in. And there's a question on that in a minute. But let's look at some rough with the smooth, Jonty. Let's look at some of the community teams, see how they did, because there was a lot of there's a lot of patterns here. There's a lot of wild cards. A lot of people did well out of their wild cards. Some didn't, and there's a lot of Wilson regret as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think part of the thing about wildcard being a rough with the smooth part of this is actually being able to fight back the herd. And when someone comes on a podcast, is not within hours to follow exactly what they do, and then wildcards as well. And Bowstring the Carp wins the Patience Awards. He started with Kolarov and Wilson. He didn't use his wild card. He resisted temptation, so he's had them. Perseverance has paid off. His wild card's still available. Going into the Arsenal game, he went from 1.2 million, thanks to Wilson and Kolarov and the rest of his team, to 21,000. So he's right up there now. His message to us: be patient. Well, too late for us.
Yeah, I mean.
But he had Kolarov already.
Had Kolarov, and he had Wilson.
It depends what you were left with. I mean, I'd non-players. I had Mings and Walcott, and I was losing loads of money as well. So I think it's about what you've got. It's easy to say, well, be patient, but you've already got a good team, from the off.
Well, I mean, in contrast, AZ, another regular on the website, he played his wild cards. Going into the Arsenal match, he was 20 points up on the deal, and he had Sanchez and Benteke to play, so they didn't do much. But he went up from 2 millionth to well into the 1 millionth rankings. And his advice: always listen to the Scoutcast. He hadn't even considered wildcarding until I heard Jonty's arguments for doing so, he says.
I can see why you picked that one out.
That's right. Always listen to Jonty is basically what you're saying.
So he pulled the trigger that very night, so that was something for you.
Didn't we all, Jonty?
So, there's quite a few of those kind of wildcarder ones. So, let's go with a Leaf here. A turning point. His transfer last week. He held on to Azpilicueta, so he's one I dumped. Got him a goal, and he did Bellerin instead to Kolarov, so that really paid off, which was pretty good. I'll do another couple of smooth ones before we get to the rough, the ones which we like. The Legend of Cage, his patience again. He kept Wilson and Azpilicueta as well. For his 2 free transfers, he brought in Gomez and Sanchez. So kind of partly hit and miss with that one, but it's enough to see him up into the top 200.
And he says he had the wildcard team ready to go. He just resisted right at the last minute.
And there's a lot like that who've done that, and good on them. And here's one I know you like, Mark, earlier. This is one that Teddy emailed us about. Where he's looked at his past 3 weeks. He's had a couple of shockers. So this is a proof that points hits can work. So game week 1, complete shocker, absolutely terrible, 23 points. So he wildcarded for game week 2, but he kept faith in the wrong people. He kept Walcott and Ivanovic on his wildcard in game week 2. But he did get in Gomez, Sanchez, Aguero. So he set himself up really well. In game week 3, this is where the game week just gone. He realised his mistakes, so he took a 12-point hit. Imagine that, 12-point hit the week after a wild card.
It's extraordinary.
So he finally dropped Walcott, Ivanovic, Matt Target he had as well, and he brought in Payet, Darmian, got him a clean sheet. Company, another clean sheet. Kolarov, so he's doubled up on Man City. clean sheet and a goal, max bonus. And he kept the armband on Gomez as well, which was nice. It's only 6 points, but you look at a week where most people captained Aguero or Rooney or Kane.
Yeah, I mean, there's some maverick moves there. One, the captaincy of Gomez. The other, doubling on the City defence when everyone's looking at Silva, Torre, and Aguero. Really.
Well, do you remember that a couple of 2 or 3 seasons ago? I think it was Giancarlo, one of our regulars, who had this obsession with Man City's defence, and he didn't he almost triple up, or he doubled up certainly. But when Man City's defence back in the day actually kept clean sheets, because they get these attacking points as well.
Yeah.
With the odd goal from Company, obviously we've seen what Kolarov can do as well. It can be very potent. Also, they're really cheap. Well, I say cheap. They're 6 million. These guys, 5.5 million. But what's the equivalent? Silver's 10 million, so 4 million less.
There's Sanya as well, who is guaranteed to play at least 2 or 3 games.
Yeah,
and he's only 5 million.
Yeah,
and he actually got all the bonus. Yeah.
The thing is, though, he is going to be watching that Watford game. Presumably he's got Aguero, but he'll be watching the Watford game, hoping that Silva and Torre blank, which is not a very nice experience to sit and watch that.
I'm actually in that position now because I've got 2 City players and I want a third, and I've got a choice. I can do a straight swap to Yaya Toure, or I could do a straight swap to Sanya. You imagine the City are going to get attacking points. That's the problem. That I think they're going to get defensive points, but they're also going to get attacking points. I think it's a tricky one for me. That.
Silver all day for me. Any rough there, John? I know we've got a few.
I've got loads. Let's go. Let's go with this one first, and then I'll get another.
Lots of Wilson woe here.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll go for a Wilson woe one. So here we go. Steer into the Hazard. He swapped Wilson for Vardy. Aspilicueta to Joel Ward. Actually, I did that.
Yeah.
Which hurt him, and his advice: give people more than 2 games. Well, yeah. The Irish Madrista benched Wilson in place of Mane, and then he also benched Francis in place of Huth. He had planned to get Kolarov home, but he didn't. He decided to wait, as he saw. He thought Everton would score. So
this is it though, John. Had I kept Wilson, I can't be 100% sure. Having played the wild card, I'd have not benched him.
Yeah. I think that if I was looking at benching, I don't know what I'd done with my team. That's why I wild carded, because I didn't know what to do with it. It was so bad. But yeah, I might have done that. But
I left him out of my ultimate team. I didn't even have him on the bench. I put him in reserve.
We've got another one there. JS Borgen. He had Wilson on the bench in the 2nd spot. Then Koscielny didn't start. So who comes on? Oxlade-Chamberlain instead.
Oh, that's dreadful, isn't it?
And this
had Oxlade not got on, he'd have got the Wilson point.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's one of those.
He went 4-4-2, did he?
Yeah. It's one of those terrible moments where you really pray for certain things to happen with substitutions, and didn't go the way. But here's the last one, rough. Sparta boy. I think. He just starts off by saying, "Oh, whoa!" So it's stuck with Rooney as my captain for the 3rd week in a row. He brought in Mane for Walcott. Well, here's your 1 point for 1 point. He played Ayew, Payet and Mane ahead of Wilson and Francis, who was 1st and 2nd on the bench, and he also benched Wilson in the Ultimate Fantasy Premier League game too. He submitted this just before the Arsenal game. I'm praying that Özil or Benteke are rested this evening. Well, they weren't. They played and
they got absolutely nothing.
Yeah. So
this is it as well with Mane. I dodged a bullet there because I made the decision to go Depay rather than Mane. That was my big decision on the morning. Shall I keep faith of Mane because he'd done me okay previous season. I've got this little attachment to him, and I thought he's at Watford. Surely Southampton will get something out of that. All the talk of the Man United moves, I thought Mane might have something. Might want to play up. Yeah. I went Depay in the end because he had the better fixture against Newcastle, and he had chances again, but didn't get anything.
Yeah.
And then Mane got injured, so I got away with it. Dodged a bullet there. I was pretty fortunate.
I was worried about Depay when he did that hat trick. It was after I'd done my wildcard. I was pretty happy with my wildcard team. I couldn't work out a way of getting him in without a big sacrifice or a couple of sacrifices. So I just had to hope for the best. I got him in my ultimate fantasy Premier League side and put the armband on him that day, and he didn't do anything. But he was the player I was most worried about. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay, questions in the community, John. So we've got lots to get through. So.
Well, let's start. I mean, you've mentioned it already, Mark. About this is a question from Cam. It says, your decision to buy back Wilson, is that you eating humble pie? I mean, we've already pretty much covered that, really.
It's me basically going, well, he's going to be another Mahrez, I think. I think we've seen it with Mahrez, and I've said before that if you don't get in quickly, what happens is you then resist it because he'll rise in price, and then you'll go, well, I'm not paying 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 more than another guy. And then, and I just think 5.4 he was. I got rid of him at 5.4. If I was going to get him back, I wanted to make sure I paid 5.4, so I've done the transfer straight away. It is me admitting my mistake, but actually, in previous seasons, I think Granville will testify to this, I've not been very good at admitting mistakes and rectifying it. Instead of that, I'm often stubborn and going, no, I backed myself. I got rid of Wilson for a reason, and no, I'm not doing that this time.
So you got Deeney out for Wilson.
Yeah, it's a straight swap. So I make 0.1, and Wilson's got better fixtures. And hands up, I made a mistake, but at least I'm kind of in there putting it right straight away, rather than what I normally do.
Are you going to do that, John? Too?
Am I going to get Wilson? Well, I mean, I've got Diouf and Gomez and Aguero.
Right.
I mean, I'm not getting rid of Diouf with his form and fixtures.
Oh, you're not. Now that's where it's interesting, because I looked at it and gone, well, form, Wilson's just got a hat-trick. Fixtures, Bournemouth have got better fixtures and stuff.
Yeah, they are.
And he's 1.1 cheaper.
I think their degrees are better, though. Stoke's fixtures are very good, and Bournemouth's fixtures are very good.
I've got my third striker, actually, I know you laugh, is Gusted. But Villa have got good fixtures. They've got the best fixture of all this week, and it's Sunderland. And I know that Villa don't offer that much going forward, but at the same time, you know that crosses are going to come in for him.
So are you keeping Gusted and not getting Wilson then?
Yeah. Well, I'm not. I didn't play Gusted last week. The whole reason I bought him really is for this week.
Okay. Well, I think in both cases, right?
Why would I switch to play with the best fixture of all this week?
Well, because Wilson has got good fixtures to come, and he's going up all the time. I mean, he hasn't even. I don't think he's even got to score against Leicester, and he'll go up in price again next week because he'll be near the top of the scoring.
I mean, so it'll be 5-5. It's no big deal. Gusted's 6. So I've got
5-5. I've
got that leeway. It's fine. I don't need to get him, and I might even get Richie instead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's other options with Bournemouth, and there's plenty of options with Stoke as well. Shakira as well. I mean,
Shakira? You fell into the Shakira trap there. Yeah,
but if I was going to get rid of a striker, I mean, possibly Gomez, but it seems crazy to. I mean, I wouldn't do it, but if any of my strikers would go, because he's 7 million, so this frees up more money, and they haven't got a particularly good fixture against Man United. I don't fancy chance, but you never know. He scored against Chelsea, so.
So John T, hold on. So here's a scenario for you. Wilson scores against Leicester, and Diouf doesn't score against Norwich, and Wilson's going up 0-2. Well, you still hold Diouf?
The other thing is, it's been mentioned on the site as well. See, if I don't make a transfer this week, we're going into an international break. I've then got 2 transfers. I could potentially take a hit at the end of that international break and make 3 transfers for the cost of 4 points, and pretty much overhaul my team depending on injuries. I don't need to, but there could be injuries. If I want to get Wilson in then, I could get him in then. Yeah. But in the same way that people ditched Wilson after 2 games, people are rushing to get him in after 1 game. And I watched the highlights of that game, and sometimes when you watch highlights, you can't see the nuances of the full 90 minutes. But as good as Wilson was, West Ham were absolutely terrible. I mean, they were diabolical. They were a poor Championship defence against a very good Championship striker. So I'm not getting overly carried away about Wilson, but I do admit, obviously, 5.5, the guy's just scored a hat-trick. So what that game said to me, it didn't say to me, wow, I must get Wilson. It says, oh, who have West Ham got next? Liverpool. Wow, I really regret getting rid of Christian Benteke now, because that's what that game showed me, rather than Wilson. It went Benteke, actually.
I don't actually buy that completely, because when I saw Wilson in the first week, who did they play?
Played Villa at home.
Yeah, he had 2 chances. He was getting in position. He had 2 good chances in that first half. I know he definitely had one in the second game that he played. The fixtures
Played
just
Liverpool,
me.
yeah.
And I thought, well, he is a man who's getting into position. He's got lots of pace. He's going to cause problems. He's going to.
Well,
he looks to me like he can score goals this season.
Well, let's have a look at how his underlying stats are in the past 3 games. So I've got in front of me the all-round attacking players. This is doing what one of our regulars, Doozra, does often. He just whips out one of his tables. So this is all-round attackers, top 15 or so. Shots inside the box. So the top of the tree, we've got Alexis Sanchez, 12 shots inside the box so far. You know, he's really hammering them in. Giroud as well, Pella's up there, Aguero, Gomez, Mahrez, Dini's up there, 8. And then a bit further down, just behind Diouf and Benteke and Costa, is Callum Wilson. So he's had 6 shots in the box. So he's averaging 2 shots in the box a game. So that shows how amazing that West Ham game was. His shots on target, 4. Well, I mean, that's okay. That's good. Aguero's got 7. You would expect that, wouldn't you? But Diouf has got 7. So Diouf's got 7 shots on target. I mean, that says to me he's actually a more potent striker. I'm not for a minute saying Callum Wilson isn't a great striker. He's in my list of good strikers. He's there with 6. But 6 shots inside the box over 3 games doesn't excite me as much as Benteke.
Okay, well,
we'll see how this one pans out.
Yeah, I think that if Wilson scores again against Leicester, you're facing over the break, the 10 days, or it's 10 days of price rises. Wilson could go up 0-3. I think you're risking it. Yeah.
Then I'll get him in for one of my strikers, but I'll have 2 free transfers. So I'll have that, and I'll still have a transfer in the bag for when all those injuries come back from South America.
And listen, and players do score hat-tricks. There'll be another one that comes up this weekend.
I can't get every player that scores a hat-trick.
Yeah, exactly. And, I mean, Gomez has been ticking over, and he's getting lots of chances. As it happens, I actually hedged my bets because I looked at Gomez, and I already had Ayew, and I couldn't decide between the 2 of them, so I stuck them both in. It's a bit foolish, really, because, I mean, Ayew had a couple of chances again. He is getting forward. He is getting in the boxes. He's becoming like a second striker.
Oh yeah, he is. He's tucking inside all the time.
Yeah. So I've got them both. They're playing United at home on Monday. Do I play them both? The thing is, if I don't, I'm going to have to play Gusted. If I don't play them both, I have to drop, like rest someone else, like Payet, which I'm not sure is a good idea. So it's. I just have this problem now that I've got two goal scorers who are kind of matching each other. Which one do I play? Because I know what's going to happen. The one that I don't play is the one who's going to score.
Well, we've got questions on Gomez, haven't we, John T? So should we bring these in now? Because there's a couple on him.
Yeah. So on Gomez.
Yeah, Sea Dog says, how long are you willing to keep Gomez? He seemingly had to score a brace to get any bats. And then she says, is Gomez the real deal? And there's a further question here: which one do you go for? Gomez, Wilson, or Diouf? So Gomez is a player that 3 goals in 3. Everyone's looked at him. But he hasn't got any bonus points. He's scored in every game without any bonus points. Is that really an issue? I mean, Costa was criticised for it. I mean, where do you stand on that, John T?
I think the difference is with Costa, though. Costa's 10 million, 10.5 million, and then and Gomez is 7 million. If you're getting 6 points every game and you've got 7 million, well, that's not so bad. But if you're getting 6 points every game and you're 10 million, you really want captaincy, so you don't really want that 6 points. You want that 10 points, 12 points. So is Gomez the real deal? Well, he looks like it. He's scoring. He scored in 3 different types of games against 3 different types of opposition.
That's a good point.
That's something he has for me at the moment. He's the focal point of a very attacking side. He's got 2 very good wingers, one very attacking. in terms of goal. He takes a lot of shots. He doesn't score as many as he perhaps could with his shots, but that's the kind of price you pay. He's like a kind of Pele, and Pele is he's 7. Pele's 8 million, and I put him in that same kind of bracket.
Yeah.
For that, really. I mean, Gomez. I mean, let's look at his shots on target though. So he's had 9 shots inside the box, and he's had 6 shots on target. So that's 2 more than Callum Wilson, and 3 more shots inside the box. The reason I keep bringing that shots inside the box up is because that's more likely to score a goal than these kind of 30-yard howitzers.
The Coutinho's, he's had more shots than anybody, I think.
So, yeah, I mean, that's my take on it, really.
I mean, out of the 2, if you were going to get Wilson in, would you be tempted to go Wilson for Gomez rather than Diouf then?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm in that position where I've got 3 good strikers with 3 great set of fixtures ahead of them, and I would say Aguero as well in a reasonable form, but Gomez certainly is, and Diouf certainly is. So I've got form fixtures. 2 of them are really good value. Aguero is not good value at 13 million, but it could be. But I've gone over. I can't have 4 strikers.
And Granville, yeah, where do you stand on Gomez? I mean, you've got AU, so there's got to be a temptation to trade one in, isn't there?
Yeah, there is a temptation. There's a temptation this week, actually. I'm probably... It's just that game against United. I mean, United have looked quite solid, actually, surprisingly. Is it really worth playing them both this week? Not sure. And I looked at Swansea's fixtures, and they're a bit of a mixture, really. They've got United, they've got Spurs in a couple of weeks. They've got Watford away, and Watford, they're keeping clean sheets. And they're keeping it very tight. And
then they've got Everton at home.
Everton at home.
Yeah.
It's not a bad fixture. So the Southampton away, so they're fairly mixed. I'm not keen on going with 2 of them, so I'm going to have to make a decision. The decision that I bottled out of making when I did my wild card. Because they had done so much, and Gomez was the obvious kind of second or third striker. So I don't know. What do you think? I mean, which way would you go? I'm just going to have to monitor it. I think AE's had more chances.
Well, I think you've got to get some Bournemouth cover in. I mean, this is it might not be Wilson, but if you're not getting Wilson, then you're going to get Ritchie. I just think looking at their fixtures, Leicester, Norwich, Sunderland, Stoke, and Watford, the next 5. The way Bournemouth are playing with some confidence. And yeah, they didn't score against Villa and they didn't score against Liverpool. I think Villa, I'm putting that down to first day nerves. Liverpool, they were unlucky not to get a goal in. And West Ham, they put 4 past an awful defence. But I mean, Leicester and Sunderland in the next 2 home games, and then Watford, you think those 3 home games, they're going to do well out of that. I think we all have to have a Bournemouth attacker, I would have said, because of the value they bring. And if Ritchie hasn't done it yet, but I was all geared up to get him in, but Wilson changed my mind. But I think Ritchie, probably for AU, would be the step I take. Because the thing is, at Gomez, he's got penalties. You see, that's the thing, as AU hasn't. So it's closer.
Yeah.
John T, should we go and talk about the Kolarov question? Because this was one for you.
Cam
because,
again,
It was Cam again.
Do I regret? This is quite interesting.
We set it up last week, didn't we, for you?
Yeah. Do I regret going for Company over Kolarov? Well, Kolarov has scored a goal, got bonus, and got the clean sheet. Company just got the clean sheet. Do I regret? Yeah, obviously with hindsight, you've got to think, why? Yeah, I would have loved to have got the player with more points. But do I regret going, say, if it was a Chelsea defender versus Kolarov or whatever, another defender, Southampton defender, then I would regret it. But I'm getting Company in, so I've got room to manoeuvre. And during the international break, if I haven't got any particular transfers to make, and I'll have to use a transfer, that could be one of my transfers, Company to Kolarov. The price difference. I've got Company, and Company's going up the same rate as Kolarov, which is a nice handy thing for me.
See, my question is, have you ever bought Company before? In any of the season?
I've had Company before. I've had Company before. I had him during that season. There was a season 2 or 3 years ago where he was doing the same thing. He did. You remember you'll definitely remember as a Manchester United fan. Remember when Vidic just kept scoring? It just seemed to be a way that Manchester United played at that time. Vidic at set pieces. I'm seeing the same thing with Company this time. When they get a corner, he's right up there. He was steaming up there. He didn't do that last season.
He did. Okay, he wasn't scoring the goals. He was injured a lot last season, but
he's a man possessed going up there. And but the other thing is do I regret missing out points? Of course, but I can make that move quite easily down to Kolarov. So I mean, it's looking now that Kolarov's nailed on. I can't. I mean, only a madman would take him out of that team. Clichy must. I don't know where he wasn't even on the bench, was he? I don't know where he's going.
Yeah, he was on the bench. I mean, the thing is, the Kolarov-Sterling relationship, and we did talk about it last week, and Granville did say, "Oh, that's a Dullard move, going for Company over Kolarov." But I can see why you did it, because you felt Company had that little bit more security, well, a lot more security.
Yeah.
And you're right, he did. But for me, I kind of like, well, Kolarov, he's like my cousin. I have to get him in. But also, I just felt, well, if it doesn't come off, I'll go Kolarov to Sanya later on, because Sanya's going to get a run because of Zabaleta. So I thought, I'll get Kolarov for Everton. And if he played him at Everton, then he's probably nailed on, because Everton away was the type of game Clichy might come in for. So once I saw him on that team sheet, I was confident.
I never thought.
Just think that's it now. He's going to stay, I think, until Europe starts, maybe, for City. I just don't see him.
The thing is, what is really strange is that last year Clichy was first choice. The year before, Kolarov was first choice, as in played more games, played a lot more games actually. So it just seems like they're doing alternate seasons. The thing that clinched it for me for Kolarov over Company or any other defender actually in the game was him picking up 42 BPS in a game where he got no attacking points. I don't think I've ever seen that before. I looked at
just down to crosses and key passes.
Yeah. And actually Sanya did the same thing this week, getting loads of crosses.
Yeah.
I just thought, and I look at the BPS now overall. Mahrez is on 117, and Company's second, a defender, no less, 110, which is you wouldn't expect that this ever. I mean, I know it's early days, but
but Company has got the 2 goals and clean sheets in every game, so you can see why. You can see why.
I mean, I'm not going to for a minute start going, oh no, mad defence of Company and anti-Kolarov rant. Not at all, because they're going to disappoint you.
It's spoiling our fun, John.
What I'll say is that I'm a very pragmatic fantasy football manager, and he'll play this weekend. I won't have him for this coming weekend's game. During that international break, chances are we'll make that move with one of my 2 free transfers. So
you're not scared about Kolarov versus Watford then? Because he's more or less a left winger.
Well, no, I mean, I tell you what, I'm happy to have a Man City defender, but Watford are really surprising me with their defensive resilience.
Mm-hmm.
You know, will they do it? On a cold afternoon in Manchester. Well, I mean, I remember last season. I mean, this is a different Man City, I think, but remember Stoke game at Man City, where they beat them 1-0 on their own turf.
Yeah, and there's been a few of those actually where everyone's just piled in with City players and Captain Aguero, and he's ended up doing nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
it happened a number of times, at least twice last season that I remember.
Yeah, I can see Aguero maybe disappointing us. Maybe he won't score. Maybe he'll only get 1. I can see City knocking Watford over. I think Watford are going to have to put on a superhuman effort to beat them, to hold them, because I just think at the moment on that pitch, with the width that they got, because they'll do the same. Sterling and Navas will just stretch it. Silva will be in the middle, exploiting the space, and Sterling will tuck inside, and Kolarov will come down that left, and it's effective. And Sanya's doing it on the other side.
It's all degrees of confidence, though, because I mean, I'm going into that game with Aguero, Silva, and Company. Yeah. So do I feel confident going into that game? Yeah, of course I do. Would I feel confident if I didn't have any of those players? Well, no, I wouldn't. So no, I'm a happy man with that. But yeah,
I still think you're going to be fidgeting every time Kolarov wants one. Every time there's a free kick around the box.
I can see it's 2 transfers next week's
Wilson
2 transfers. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I might maybe
I think so.
Or someone else might score.
Yeah.
Whoever scores a hat-trick.
Yeah, I'll get Wilson in then. I wanted to ask this question actually. It's from Viper Stripes about mid-price midfielders, because this is quite interesting. We've got quite a few here, so there's lots to choose from. He says, Viper Stripes says that we've got Pedro, Sanchez, Yaya, Silva, all vying for our top price attention. So, it's hard to get a lot of these mid-price options in our team. So I've done another table here about midfield options. So I've sorted this by chances created, which is a good guide to a midfielder doing what they should be doing. Also got corners and crosses here. So top of the tree, 13 chances created. John Joe Shelby. So, he's picking up bonus, he's picking up assists, he's doing exactly the job of a mid-price midfielder. If anyone was thinking of getting him in, well done to you.
How much?
He's 5.5, Shelby.
5.5. There you go.
See, I'd say that's almost budget. I'd say that's.
Yeah.
So looking down the list, so we've got Cazorla, Özil next. They're quite expensive ones, and we've got Stephen Davis at Southampton. So a bit of a money ball here. Stephen Davis goes very much under the radar, but he's put in 12 corners, 17 crosses, 9 chances created. Started every game.
Yeah, I spoke about him on week 1. I don't remember Davis, because he was looking like he could actually be playing as a number 10, or at least behind the striker. At the beginning, I think he's been pushed back now, but yeah, he is actually quite effective coming in late, and he gets lots of passes, and he's just so involved.
He's a good differential, I think. Southampton's fixtures are still strong. Then we got behind him Silva and Hazard, so that says something about Stephen Davis. And then we got Westwood. Now, one of you two got Westwood in your side.
I did have. He was my 5th midfielder. And he's having a really strong season.
Yeah, 9 chances created, 17 crosses, 9 corners. This is played every game, and 1 assist already. So, then we've got a few Norwich players as well creeping in. We've got Houlihan down there with 7 chances created. We've got Brady with 9. We've got Redmond with 8.
Back, yeah.
They're all chipping in. So Houlihan's got 3 assists already. Brady's doing well as well. Redmond's got an assist, but he's also getting the goals as well. So your Norwich options there.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, the point with this, I think, is I would say mid-price is from 6 to probably 8 million, right?
Yeah.
Above 8 million, you start getting into Depay but I think Mane is probably the threshold. Now, what's interesting for you, for you, Granville, is you have 2 players here. You have Payet and Ayew, who I would say are in that bracket. So what you haven't got is a Silva or Toure upper bracket. Now, do you not think that one of Payet and Ayew's got to go to clear the space for that 3rd heavy hitter?
Maybe. The thing is, I was looking at ways of getting in Silva, and it just wasn't going to happen. I'd have to downgrade a striker and another defender. I wasn't prepared to do that. I know that Silva has been, he looks fantastic this season again. But I just have to. I've got to give up something somewhere, and I just think at the minute having United and City defenders is quite important, and a decent 3rd striker.
Because looking at it, Jonty's got a similar setup to me. He's got basically, he's got 3 heavy hitters in there, and I've got. He has got Payet, whereas I've got Mahrez and Albrighton. So if anything, I've got 2 budget ones. Yeah. So I looked at it. I was going to go Albrighton to Richie, which was going to give me my mid-price. So I looked at it and went, I'm going to go Mahrez as almost my budget, and then Richie is a step up from that, and then 3 heavy hitters. But you've got those two
mid-price
in Payet and Ayew. I looked at it. I thought I just don't think I can do that because. But it does force me to have a budget striker, which I was turning to Deeney. So Wilson has turned up again for me just in time to allow me to do that. But I think it's a problem because everyone was buying Payet and Ayew. Yeah. And you look at it now, and Payet at Liverpool, and because you've got to have Gomez because of the form, I think Payet and Ayew are a bit of a problem because you're going to hold them because you think, well, they're both decent players, and they are. But actually, the longer you hold them and you don't make that move up, it might hurt people, I think.
Well, I think you need to have. This is where people who've wildcarded have an advantage because you need. If you've got Payet, Payet's got a pretty poor fixture with Liverpool. I don't fancy his chances there. So, but if your 5th midfielder, is good and can come in, and some of those names that I've just been reading off are amongst those that could do it. Put them in because you look afterwards. West Ham still have some great home games coming up.
Yes, they do.
And I'd be very reluctant to get rid of Payet just because of one bad game.
No, I'd probably get rid of Ayew or Gomez. I just have to monitor that. But I think because I could upgrade Gomez as well. I've got a little bit in the bank, so it is there to actually upgrade. But I think Depay is the one that I'm kind of looking at. I mean, I think I'm going to have to get Yaya Toure in for him this week. just because of the fixture, and just risk going without him against Swansea.
Yeah, it's going to be unpleasant viewing otherwise, that City game, if you don't have that third.
I know, or I could just go for Sanya, which will keep my team balance a little bit better and keep Depay. It's just do I fancy City? I mean, I fancy City to get clean sheets.
Well, this is. I think we're focusing a lot on Manchester, but as AZ and Shifty point out, further south in London, the Chelsea. And,
well, now, we're all without Chelsea players.
We're all without Chelsea, and Chelsea are conceding still. Their defence is a mess. John Terry's out now for a game, and so you're looking at that. But then Pedro's come in, and he's really sparked them into life. He's putting in corners, so he's sharing the corner duties there as well. So he's getting a lot of those. And as we saw, he got an assist, and then I heard, we got lucky. There was a well, that's what good players do in good positions. They do get lucky. They get lucky a lot.
It was very much like Di Maria's first couple of games.
Yeah.
If you remember. Yeah. Where he had got a couple of lucky goals. Everything seemed to be bouncing for him.
I mean, this is no disrespect to the wonderful city of Manchester, but it's different for Pedro coming into the London from Barcelona to Di Maria coming from Spain to the rain-soaked wonderment that is Manchester, and then getting burgled as well in his house. In the wherever it is in Cheshire, likely, and so it's pretty. So it's going to be different for Pedro. I don't know what his background, whether he's been set up with a swanky flat immediately, and what his family situation is. But a lot of that is going to be dependent on that. Di Maria was just on a hiding something for completely personal reasons. Manchester United were not the team for him.
So I mean, we're looking at Pedro at 9.5. Is this the end for Hazard? Because I think a few people have said this. Shifty says here, do we think it's a sign of things to come? Hazard dropping deeper and Pedro getting the points. I mean, it has cast more doubt over Hazard.
I always think for good teams that are good attacking teams with lots of good attacking players, if they have a good player with them, then they score more goals. So, and we already saw Hazard got an assist. So that was his first attacking points of the season. No coincidence. And Pedro's in the side. It's like when Ronaldo joined Manchester United and had those wonderful seasons there. People didn't think, now Ronaldo's joined, Rooney won't get so much, and that wasn't the case at all. There was just scoring more goals. There was just more assists and goals going around. And
but the thing is here, though, Hazard did so well last season, right? Top scorer in the FBL. But when you look at that Chelsea team, they were so reliant on Hazard. They had Costa getting goals, of course, but Hazard was getting so much. But I think he got 42 bonus points, right, more than any other player. Because he was there, Chelsea were effectively at times a one-man team when Costa wasn't there as well. In particular, they relied so much on the Hazard turn in the game. Now they've got Pedro. Does it actually take the pressure off Hazard? But also, will it dent his output? Surely it will. Surely we can't expect Hazard now to chip in as much bonus for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. The bonus is key, isn't it?
Well, the bonus is slightly tricky this year because passing has gone down in the bonus point system allocation. So that was where Hazard excelled. So there's less weight on that. We've already seen the impact of that on a player like Fabregas, who was mopping up bonus last season, not so much this season. I think for 11.5, you have to look at price with Hazard. Is he worth 11.5? My problem with Hazard last season, even though I did have him a lot of periods, was he was a reliable captain in that he would get you 6 or 7 points, but he wasn't one of those explosive captains. I never thought I'm going to get 15 points like I would perhaps with Aguero or even Silva at times. So I look at the price there, and you can't avoid it. And I think Costa at the right at the top of that has to be considered. He's cheaper than Hazard, and Pedro is 2 million cheaper than Hazard. I think that's that has to be considered. I'd like to have one of them. I must admit.
Yeah.
I'd like to have Costa or Pedro. I can't do it without hits or major surgery or wild card. I've just done that. That could be, in terms of am I happy with my wild card going forward? I am, except I don't have a Chelsea attacker.
All it'll take is he gets another goal and assist, and you'll have him in your team next week.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah,
That's it. We spent Jonty's free transfers there. Pedro, Wilson, and Kolarov will be your transfers over the break. There we go. Let's have another question. It's going back really to defenders and Kolarov in particular. It was basically King of the North saying, is it worth taking a hit for a City defender? It's never worth taking a hit for a defender, is it? I mean,
it can be.
I mean, for me, Kolarov could fit into it because he promises attacking returns, but you've got to really have that chance of attacking returns, I would say.
Yeah. Well, I also think you've got to, with taking a point hit, you can't just see it in isolation of that 1 week. You've got to be setting yourself up. I mean, do you definitely need to? So, King of the North is asking, particularly when transferring out a Chelsea defender. Well, I think, yeah. I mean, I think fair enough. Do it if you want to spend that 4 points. But I would perhaps even wait a week and then just do it the following week, not for a hit, but straight away I would, because you're costing yourself 4 points, so that's most of a Kolarov potential goal. He's not going to score every week.
No, but the thing is, I mean, Kolarov should get a clean sheet at home to Watford, right? So you're going to get you hope you're going to get your 4 points back, but if you don't, there's a good chance Kolarov can come out of it with something, whether it be an assist or whatever. And I think there's a good chance of that every game with him at the moment, because City are scoring lots of goals and he's putting in a lot of crosses. We've seen it, right? So I would say maybe that'll be the exception. Someone like Kolarov or a Baines in his heyday, it would be worth gambling if the fixture is right and taking a hit. Normally, though, I mean, if you've got a Chelsea defender and at home to Palace, you sit on it, don't you? You leave it a week, I would say. I don't think in this case it's...
I mean, there's another group of defenders that I would consider, and that's the Liverpool ones. So someone like Skirtle or Klein. I know we've spoken about it before, Mark, about the bonus points coming up in the Liverpool defence. Skirtle is still quite attacking. He's still doing well in those bonus. What did you have?
You've got Gomez, haven't you, Mark?
Yeah. Well, it's a gamble because I wasn't sure, but
me too.
It looks like he's going to be alright, but he's one off 4 bookings. So if he gets...
I know. He's been booked every game so far. Gets caught out of position. He's quite naive, but I think I'm just going to sit on him. You might as well.
Yeah, he's a good bet because they've got good fixtures, and I looked at it and went, well, it might not pay off. If it doesn't, I'll trade him in for a 4-5, and I'll get some money out of him. He'll rise. He called into the England squad today, so he's got momentum. I don't think Rodgers is going to drop him against West Ham, and West Ham without Sacco, perhaps. I think that's he's still a good bet, so that's all right. But I don't think hits of defenders are normally on the cards. But I think Kolarov perhaps is the only exception at the moment. But it's still I wouldn't do it for Chelsea. So Ryan poses an interesting question here. Our Ryan, moderator and contributor, premium defenders he's talking about. Now he's talking about playing more than 3 at the back, going 4 at the back, sometimes even 5. And he's looking at a defence of Shaw, Bellerin, Kolarov, Cedric and Gomez, and playing 4 defenders most of the time out of that. I mean, for me, the formation, we talked about it last week, the formation has gone from 3-4-3 to perhaps 3-5-2 at the moment. Wilson might have changed that because now you can play a budget striker and think, well, he's got a chance of getting goals. Do you think there's ever a chance of going 4 at the back? I mean, it's not been for years, has it?
I think not since. I mean, I mentioned him before, Vidic. I mean, I remember those days when you could get a Chelsea defender and Vidic. So Vidic his scoring rate was unbelievable. I think he was 8 million, but he was behaving like an 8 million midfielder plus those clean sheet points. And then maybe Liverpool then have a tendency to get good clean sheets at home. So you got them, and then you've got these other ones start emerging. I mean, yeah, you've got to look at value. I mean, it's something I quite like having lots of attacking players. I don't particularly like looking out for clean sheets. But if you've got lots like Kolarov, I'm not sure we have got lots like Kolarov, though. I think Kolarov's a bit of a one-off at the moment. I don't think I think he's a one-off in terms of he's got good fixtures for security of clean sheets, but at the same time he's got those attacking points. And if there was 2 of them, maybe another Kolarov, then maybe I'd consider that. But
the only thing with Kolarov is the rotation. And it will happen at some point where he will get rested, probably before a Champions League game. I think at the minute, I think he is first choice, and I think we can rest easy with that one. But,
the other thing is, I'm looking at it, he's put Shaw and Bellerin forward as options, but the trouble is, I mean, Arsenal don't seem to be playing on their game at all at the moment, and United obviously are in terms of defence, But look at United's the fixtures: Swansea, Liverpool, Southampton away, and then Arsenal away. So they've got, they've only got 2 home games in the next 6 for a start. Right? So that's tough. And then their away games: Swansea, Southampton, Arsenal. Easy to concede in all of those. So I think this isn't the time. I got Shaw in on the wild card because he had the Newcastle game, but I looked at it thinking I might have to bench him the week after because I don't fancy them at Swansea.
Yeah, they've got the early game is that they've got that Sunderland game.
Yeah.
Game week 7, and that's the only one where I'd be really confident in playing him.
Yeah.
In playing Darmian, I might even bench him this week against Swansea.
Yeah. Yeah. I just don't think at this stage in the season, traditionally, you can count on clean sheets, can you? And it's so proved. Only 6 home wins all season. We traditionally look at fixtures and go, home games, they're the best options for clean sheets. But when you've only seen 6 home wins, it's obvious you can't really count on clean sheets at the moment. So I think going 4 at the back right now is on shaky ground. I think there will come a time, though, October, November, December. That's when Chelsea starts shoring up as well, isn't it, normally?
Well, looking at the top defenders in FPL in terms of points, the top 10 is just 3 teams. So you've only got. So if you're going to go 4 at the back, you're going to be needing to double up. So if you've got Kolarov, Company, a Liverpool, and a Man U, then it's an option. But as we've discussed, the fixtures aren't really that great for Man U. So you're down to 3 again. The nearest one is Dan, and because he's scored for Crystal Palace. But the rest of them is basically the Man City, Man U, Liverpool. I think now is not the time for four at the back. I just don't think they've got the personnel for it, and I don't think Manchester United have got the fixtures to keep up. Liverpool have, and Man City have, but.
Okay, we'll end it on one more question. This is about chips. We've talked about chips quite a lot already this season. All about the Galacticos. Poses a question here. Usually it's consensus not take hits. Do you think the chips will change that? Do you think people will take hits with the chips in mind? And also, does it favour having a stronger, deeper squad when you've got chips? I'm thinking, obviously, bench boost. It is important to have a bench that is going to play, but also all-out attack as well. You're looking there for a 5th midfielder who's definitely going to play, or a 3rd striker who's definitely going to play. Is it changing the way we look at our squads, these chips, or are we just banking them for double game weeks?
I think we are banking them for double game weeks. And I think that's how it's changing it, because I've seen lots of people on commenting on Fantasy Football Scout and elsewhere on Twitter who've actually played some of their chips now. Should I play my bench boost now? I'd just say no. Why play it now when you can have a double game week and you can really max out on it? There's a good article in our community articles section by Jarvish, how the FA Cup will define the Fantasy Premier League season. It's well worth a read, getting some advanced knowledge in. He has looked at the potential double game weeks that are available based on the semi-finals of the FA Cup. Pretty much it's going to be game week 37. So if he has looked at that, and if there's a dream scenario where all of the 4 semi-finalists are the big sides where you can select good players, Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, Man U, for example, or even Liverpool, then you've got 8 teams potentially having a double game week in game week 37. Now, I'd want to be going into that with my triple captaincy or my bench boost. Probably bench boost. Can
you imagine that? Because that's going to be a scenario where whoever's top of the FPL is going to be counting down the game weeks. He's going to get to game week 37. He's going to have one eye on that and go, everything could change in that final week depending on what happens.
It changes everything. Imagine like a Clint Dempsey. What's some of Clint Dempsey's great double game week hauls back in the Fulham days? 25, 21, 19. So you triple the 75 you could get from one player.
It's a scary prospect, that is, to be honest, because I just think it's all very well having these chips and playing them throughout the season, but when so many people are going to save it for that, those game weeks.
You say so many will, and there will be lots of people, but there'll be lots that won't resist. But the other thing is that to really max out on that, you really want to be playing your wild card nearish that time when you know who are going to be in that FA Cup. So you've got that situation there, and so what are we now? Game week 4 we're coming up to. So this is looking at game week 35, 36 in order for us to play our wild cards. So that's 30. Wow, that's 32.
You haven't got a wild card until January, so
until January, but that's 32. Game weeks. So who knows what state our teams are going to be in? Where it's changed is from now until these double game weeks with these chips. The planning and avoiding taking a wild card before then and doing very strategic hits, I think, is going to be very important, and that's where the fantasy football scout community is going to probably, hopefully, do.
Well, that's the other thing, though. You for that FA Cup semi-final, you could take hits rather than have the wild card, and I'm banking that for every 4 points you're spending, you're going to get that back off the bench, aren't you? Because you're strengthening your squad and getting that.
Don't you think though that having them for double, if everyone's going to be keeping them for double game weeks, then you're not really gaining anything, are you? I mean, you're gaining stuff on people who have played them, obviously. I think, I'm just a bit concerned about the way that they're going to be used and whether they might have thought about just having the bench boost just for the first game in the double game week. It just seems a bit, overpowered if you can use it all and on a double game week like that.
Yeah, but it depends what people are able to get in. It has got to be coupled with hits or a wild card to maximise it, and then it's about what players you get in as well. I mean, there's always surprises in a double game week. So, and what about the all-out attack? Because I looked at it and thinking, well, actually, it might be imminent that I play this because I get Richie in. I can afford to get Richie in for Brighton, right? So not this week, but my next transfer could be Richie in for Brighton, and so either I could play. A really good, strong attacking team. I can play all my heavy hitters in midfield, Richie, Mahrez, and my three heavy hitters in midfield. I can play Gomez, I can play Wilson, and I can play Aguero. So I'm looking at game week 6, for example, when Bournemouth are at home to Sunderland, Leicester at Stoke, so Mahrez at Stoke, maybe not, but Man City at home to West Ham. So are you looking at that? Because that one's not a double game week one. I mean, are you looking at all out?
Well, I thought the way that I was going to use all out attack is that 1 week there will be a week that comes up where I can't make a decision, a benching decision, where it's really, really difficult. Like my fifth midfielder has got a game at home to Sunderland, and my third striker's got a game at home to Leicester, and then it was sort of like that'll be the point at which I play it. So I don't know. How easy it is to plan ahead, really.
But Johnson, you're not going to have that issue because Houlihan's someone you're just going to keep there to be your John Boy.
I'm coming up for this week is a perfect example. Houlihan's got Southampton, who have changed their defence, so I'm not sure how that's going to pan out. Payer's got Liverpool. So on paper, actually Houlihan, who's on penalties, looks the better player there. So I probably might. Chances are I'm going to be playing Houlihan this week instead of Payet. So I think he's got pretty good fixture. In comparison.
Do you think that it actually is going to change the way that people choose their fifth midfielder, whether you're going to have a midfielder which can rotate with a third striker rather than have someone just dead, like Wanyama or Fletcher?
That's exactly what I was very conscious of when I wildcarded. I had Fletcher in no intention of playing him, no intention of, he had no intention of ever servicing me with points. So I looked at that and I like to have that choice. And one of the things I look about that all-out attack is the necessity of playing it. There's been times when you've only got two good playable defenders. You really don't want to play your Watford defender against Man City, for example. So. This time they were thinking, well, hang on a minute, I've got a good fifth midfielder here. I don't want to have to take a transfer. Perhaps Company gets red carded and misses a game. And I don't want to have to. I don't maybe want to get him out for that game, but so maybe it's for that. And I think that's where it might be best used for expediency. And if we're not going to be using a wildcard for about 30 weeks. Then maybe that's maybe a good policy to kind of tide us over during that tricky time.
Okay, let's end it on our transfers then. I mean, I've already made mine. Wilson's in. I'm not going to make another one. I was looking at Richie for Brighton for a hit, maybe. I think I'm not going to do that, but I think that would be a maverick move to back Bournemouth at home to Leicester and go, because I think Richie's going to have his day sooner or later. It's going to come in the next few weeks, so I'm kind of want to get him. I think I'm going to miss it. If I don't get it this Saturday, there's a chance he'll get his points against Leicester, but I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to take a hit. I'm settled. So I'm done. Granville, what you're talking about? Ayew or Gomez out, are you?
I've got no, not yet. because the only choice really I've got is to get a City player, because I only got 2 City in my wild card, so I think I probably do need a third. It's whether I go for the double up at the back or get the other choice is the payout for Yaya Toure. That might be the one I do, because United's fixtures are Swansea and then home to Liverpool. Not that great. So and I might have to lose the pay and just kind of hide behind the sofa.
And Jonty, you're going to sit tight, are you?
I'm probably going to sit tight. If I did make a transfer, because my dodgy players for this week are Payet, Gomez and Darmian against each other. I mean, I'm a bit nervous about playing them. It's a bit hedgy. What's going to happen there? I'd be tempted, if I did make a transfer, and I might do, is Darmian out for Skirtle. I think Liverpool have some great fixtures coming up. Skirtle, as we know, has the bonus points. I think that would be a smart move. I'd like to go into the international break with 2 free transfers, but looking at my team for game week 5, currently I haven't got any transfers to make for that, so I could be in a position where I don't really want to make a transfer in game week 5. So I might do that. I'll just see.
Well, just bear in mind, Jonty, that you're definitely going to get Wilson and Kolarov in.
I'll just get Wilson and Kolarov in. Yeah. After tonight, like last week, in my persuasion, you've both been so persuasive.
Yeah, it's our turn. It's our turn.
No, I think he's going to get Pedro in. He's going to get Pedro in before anyone.
That'd be maverick.
There'll be a bandwagon which he's got to get on. You know what?
Pedro would be essential. That's it.
You know what? With these with these 3-way Scoutcasts, I've forgotten about you, Mark.
I know. It's just picking on Jonty. I noticed that.
I'm totally concentrating on
your cyberbullying on Twitter as well. It's outrageous.
I know. We're gonna have to go back to just me and you. I mean, I don't even know what your team is.
I brought Jonty in on this to take the flack off me. So
we should
it's working.
Focus on Mark's team.
I know. Look, I mean, Mark made the same mistake, getting rid of Wilson, and now he's getting him back in. I should be taking the piss.
Hey. And on that note, it's a pleasure to have you both on the Scoutcast once again. We'll get a guest on. We haven't got one next week, so it's an international break. We'll line up a guest over the international break, Jonty and Granville. We'll maybe get Evs on, because there's been a shout out for him tonight. So we'll line up a guest, or maybe we're dropping on Tom or even Simon March, see how their seasons are going. But yeah, we won't be around next week over the international break, because we put our feet up over the international break as well. But we'll be back in a couple of weeks with another Scoutcast, and we'll see if Jonty's got his Wilson and Kolarov in then. It's a good night for me.
Good night.
And good night for me.